It's terrible lighting. I don't really care. All right. I have been asked a question by a friend. Hi, I have reel-to-reel tapes, and I have a reel-to-reel tape player. How would I go about digitizing that so I can listen to it on my computer? Or share it to my friends through the computer? The basics of what you're going to need is a tape player, a way to get audio out of the tape player, a way to get audio into the computer, and some kind of audio recording software on the computer. You can make this as easy as a tape player, a cable that goes out from the tape player into a microphone in on a computer, and Audacity. Or you can make this as complicated as a tape player, a cable that goes from the tape player to an audio mixer that goes into the computer through some other cable, which I'm not going to specify, and then some other, what's the technical term for the generic? A desktop audio workstation. Don't worry, I'll walk you through all of it. So what you're going to need is you're going to want to use the line out on the tape player, which on this one is an RCA jack. And then you're going to buy a cable that has RCA on one end, and then you need to figure out the way to get audio into your computer. Most computers will have a mini jack in. I happen to put all of the cables away. A mini jack in will cut to the video that I recorded where I was showing all this. Most computers for the microphone in will only record in mono, which means that it will only record one track. That's okay because reel-to-reel usually is mono only. So that'll be just fine. You just can't do any of the cute hacks and advanced tricks that you could do if you could do stereo recording. Let's go find a cable. RCA to mini jack. Naturally, we're going to get eBay and we're going to Finders Cheapers. Let's go find out what Amazon has. Hey, that looks like the right one. It has RCA to a mini jack. That is RCA to a mini jack. Cool. This is an 8-foot cable for $10. That's probably fine. That's also for $10. It's probably fine. That one is a braided cable. Ooh. For $14, it's probably fine. Mono price. Ooh, for $5.89. But it's only 3 foot. But if we're talking about mono price already, let's just go to mono price. Because Monoprice is a magical wonderland where they have cables of all kinds for anything you could want. For cheap, but good cables. So let's go find, I don't want video cables, I want audio cables. Where are audio cables? Where are they hiding the audio cables? Audio cables, RCA cables. There was one right there. Monoprice, 6 foot, designed for mobile. For $275, you could buy it for $275 plus shipping. I'm not gonna shill for Monoprice anymore. Hey, if you buy 2 to 9 of them, it's 2 cents cheaper. If you buy 10 to 19 of them, they're 6 cents cheaper. I don't math on stream. Ooh, a 10-foot cable for $2.95. He says he's not gonna shill for Monoprice anymore while continuing to shill for Monoprice. Okay, so let's go get some audio recording software. So in your favorite search engine, we're going to go search for Audacity. Audacity is free and open source software. A lot of people use it to record their own podcasts. Don't hit the add link, click the second one, or whichever one is actually it. You're going to look for whatever this is, audacityteam.org. It should look like this. Hit download Audacity. That's going to take you to this page, Audacity for Windows. If you don't have Windows, don't click it. Click on the other one for your operating system. All right, the current version is 2.4.1. We want the 2.4.1 installer, not the zip or the checksum or any of that nonsense. Audacity 2.4.1 installer. All right, now we're on fosshub.com. I want the Audacity Windows installer. That sounds good. Save file. All right, so it's downloaded now. If you click on that guy, oh my gosh, we have to say yes on the thing. All right, yes on the thing, next on the thing. It's an installer. I'm sure you've installed software before. Install software. And it's going to tell me that I already have it installed, so at this point I'm going to back out of the installation. I trust you to understand how to or to install software. So I'm going to just start it by going into the start menu, and I'm going to type Audacity. It's also right here in recently added. I like to use the keyboard. Okay. So inside of Audacity, we have a couple things here. We have these Play School buttons and a bunch of other UI controls. The only fiddly ones that you're going to need to worry about for the most part, is MME. This is a listing of the APIs that are available in Windows to help you record audio. This list is organized from oldest to newest, and it defaults to the oldest. Why? Because it's the one that works the best. You can try some of these newer ones, but they offer features that are great if you're a developer. Actually, they don't, because it's Windows, so they took away features. That makes people annoyed, and that's why they default to the oldest one. Next is the microphone input. This one defaulted, I believe, to microphone high definition audio. This one is going to be the audio port that's on the back of your computer or the front of your computer. Use the one on the back of your computer, PS. Then we have this capture card that I'm using to have my webcam right here. And then we have the line in from my mixer. You're probably going to have very few of these. I suggest using the one that is there. Not this default one. This is, yet again, provided by the audio subsystem in Windows. You don't want that. You want a direct connection to the thing that you're recording. Next is this drop down. Do you want to record in mono or stereo? Since these tapes are not stereo, record in mono. Ta-da! And then this is the device that you want to listen to your recordings on while you're playing them back in this program. I suggest picking speakers, high definition audio. It's likely the one that you have your speakers plugged into. Most monitors nowadays have the ability to do audio out. Unless you have your speakers plugged into those, don't use them. And then once again, I also have my mixer in here. So there we go. Now that we've done all of that nonsense, there's also project rate. Leave this at whatever it defaulted to. It probably defaulted to 44:1. That's the resolution that CDs are recorded at. If it defaulted to 48 kilohertz, that's the resolution that DVDs are recorded at. If it did any lower than that, change it to 44:1. If it defaulted to anything higher than that, change it to 44:1. Okay, so now that you're plugged into the tape recorder and you have that cord cable going into your computer and you have Audacity running and you have the input selected correctly, now you can go to the tape player and turn it on. As with any audio equipment, it's good for at least the first time to always make sure that you have your volume knobs turned all the way down and then turn it on and then hit play and then slowly turn up the audio so that you can make sure that you're not blowing anything out, because you usually don't want to sacrifice your speakers to accidentally going boom and then they're dead. Yeah. So that's just a general recommendation for any audio equipment. Don't kill your audio equipment, because generally you will be sad when you have to repurchase them. So in this, I'm going to cut to a clip that I've already recorded earlier where I'm demonstrating this, and then I'm going to go talk about something else, which is good for you to know. Yeah. Okay. Now that that's there, you hit record and then go turn on the tape player. I'm going to go turn this on, and then I'm going to start jiggling the audio knobs until I see that the waveforms, let me use a mouse to point. The waveforms look fairly sizable. All right, we're now peaking between -12 and -6. That's good. Anywhere higher than -6 is good to reserve for like shouts and things. Just so that you can have dynamic range. So I actually can't hear this. So now we're going to go and we're going to dig into the audio device in Windows so that I can hear what's being recorded as it's being recorded without needing any kind of fancy extra trickery like having a professional audio setup on your desk. So while this is playing, I'm going to go and I'm going to hit stop. Okay, I'm going to go into here. I'm going to go into opened sound settings, which is going to bring up this control panel, which I'm going to drag onto another monitor. And then we're going to go to that scene. There we go. Ta-da! So now that we're here, I'm going to make this window embiggened. There we go. Please embiggen window. All right, in input, we're on the microphone with the high definition audio. You can see that there's something that it's hearing, but it's not what I'm talking to you with right now. I can show you the device that I'm listening to, that I'm talking into right now. And when I stop talking, the bar goes to 0. So I want this device, I want device properties for that device, and I want additional device properties. That's going to bring up this window, which hopefully opened on a different monitor. Cat, don't you get in trouble. Okay. So now that I'm on microphone properties and I've fallen through about 3 levels of Windows interface, we're at something that is actually useful. So listen, I want to be able to listen to this device and hit apply. And now it's going to play that device through my default speakers while there's anything to listen to. So if I go and stop,
I will listen to this.
it stops. And if I go and play, it will play again. What magical technology. This way, if I hit OK, and we go in here, and I start the recording,
able to follow it, and
this way, you'll be able to hear
benefit.
what's being recorded while it's being recorded without needing to do a test recording and then stop it and then listen to it. Let's do that right now.
Concept,
Okay, I've got some recording. I'm going to stop this, and then I'm going to, oh no, and then I'm going to stop the other thing. And now let's take a listen-see for, you know, what it is that I just recorded. I'm going to hit back here. I'm going to hit spacebar. You can hit this play.
Benefit. I think these 3
Ooh, we peaked right there.
concepts.
You may want to turn the sound on the device down a little bit if we're peaking. Reminder that right now I'm hearing a lot of noise and hiss through my speakers that's coming from the tape player, which isn't playing anything. So you might just want to leave this microphone properties window open and uncheck listen to device so that it stops. Because otherwise, when you don't have the tape player plugged in, it's probably going to default back to some other microphone. So if you're on a laptop, it's probably going to default to the microphone in your webcam. So then you're going to hear yourself talking to your laptop. That's going to be annoying. So make sure that you turn off listen to this device when you don't want to listen to the device anymore. I made a oops and a boo-boo, and I didn't record this part. So while I was putting together the video, I realized I didn't have this part, and now I'm going back and recording this so that I have it to put in the video because you will want to know this. So I have been, while recording this awkward introduction about how much I've accidentally screwed up, I'm going to go and I'm going to hit this button. There we go. So I have this recording. Let's pretend that this is coming from the tape recorder and not the microphone that I'm speaking into right now. Just ignore that small travesty. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to stop this, and you're going to hear me talking while me not talking. That's because it's the recording. Don't freak out. I have this recording. Let's pretend that this is coming from the tape recorder and not the microphone that I'm speaking into right now. All right. You see how this little blue line here says that the peak was somewhere between -18 and -12? We can fix that by dragging this little slider here up by 8. That seems fine. That 8 directly adds on to whatever it was doing up here. So now we're going to do, what's that going to be? Somewhere around 16 plus 8. That's going to get us to 8, which is going to put us to here. Remember what I said about getting it above 12, but somewhere around -6 is a good happy spot to have all your audio. I have this recording. Let's pretend that this is coming from the tape recorder and not the microphone that I'm speaking into right now. Just magical. Okay. So let's pretend that you got it a little too hot, but not clipping, and you didn't want that. You would drag that back to minus, and then you do the same kind of math. You're at like, I'm somewhere around like -1. I want to take it down to -6 there, so you'd put it at somewhere around there, right? So that's the very minimal basics about how to do audio edit, or how to correct what's called gain across an entire audio track. So recommendation, set your audio knobs and then don't go and fiddle with them in the middle of recording. Set your knobs, do the whole tape, and then while you're going back and you're proofing the audio, the whole thing's a little quiet, then you can go and play with the gain for the whole track, and then you don't have to go and find like, oh right, I remember I fiddled with the volume knob at this point, so I need to go and do some kind of advanced audio editing like this. So I switched over to this envelope tool, which is on F2 if you want to use keyboard shortcuts. Click. How dare you? Click. Click. And then click in here. So if I do this and do this, I've now made this portion of the audio track louder, but I've left the rest of the audio track at the volume that it was at because I've created this cute little separation here between this point and this point. And this is going to linearly, which is logarithmically, grow to the new volume, and I'll demonstrate that for you. Ready? I'm going to scroll back a little bit on this audio. You'll note that as soon as I left the selection, I lost they're still there. Cute. You can go back and only semi-destructively edit things. I'm going to go and I'm going to hit this button. There we go. So I have this recording. Let's pretend that this is coming from the tape, right? That one bit louder than the rest of the audio track. So that's how you go and do some basic volume correction. If you want to, you go and I just hit Control A. Control A selects the whole file. You can drag select the whole thing. I'm sure that you've used a word processor, so you can do that in here. Go into the effect thing and you can compressor. There are lots of tutorials on YouTube about how to use a compressor. You get several dials and knobs that will try to make sure that quiet periods are boosted to what you think of as a minimally acceptable volume. Reminder that silences also count as quiet, so compressors will give you that nice AM radio feel where if someone stops talking, you just hear the sound of the room. Watch out for that if you're playing with a compressor. And then it will also bring down when someone starts shouting. It'll bring that down to closer to somewhere around where they were keeping level. Compressors are a nice tool if you want to normalize audio. There's a whole bunch of other junk in here that you can play with if you were gonna, I don't know, add reverb. Sure, that sounds fine. And now it sounds like I was in a echoey room. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna hit this button. There we go. Ugh, don't do that to your recordings. I mean, there are times where you should use reverb. Digitizing a tape is not one of them. the next one, since this is a tape, you're gonna want to use noise reduction. There's no noise on this. Oh wait, I prepared this earlier. Ta-da! Okay, I forgot that I had this file.
Sir, that's the key you see.
All right, so you find a place of silence. Good, nobody's talking there. You hit effect, you hit noise reduction, get noise profile on the part that you selected, and you hit enter, I think. Nope. Okay, get noise profile is just in case you haven't highlighted a quiet area already. I'm going to turn down the sensitivity on my mouse so that I can actually do this. There we go. Effect. Where'd it go? Noise reduction. All right, noise reduction by noise is up here at 24. I want to get it to like safely below 36, so we're gonna 16. Okay. All right. Noise reduction. Select all of the audio you want filtered, choose how much you want filtered, and then select OK. Ugh, of course the window's open. All right. Let me grab from here to the beginning of the thing, and then we're going to hit effect, and we're going to hit noise reduction. And it's kept that, and I want reduce probably. Hit OK, and then it's going to play with it. And now, instead of that annoying hum,
That's the key you see.
there's much less hum.
Present day, the utmost confusion
And theoretically,
in
you
Why?
have
Because they've
cleaned up
spoken
audio.
of things that are fundamental,
Danger,
and they call
you
them
turn up
fundamental.
danger, you turn up the noise reduction algorithm too high or like high at all, and it's gonna sound like the speaker's in a bucket. It is hard to take noise out of an audio recording, and that's why all audio engineers make such a big fuss about getting the noise floor, that is how loud a quiet section is. Audio engineers go nutty about making sure that that noise floor is as quiet as possible, because then because you can get it to the point where you don't need to do noise reduction, and then you don't make speakers sound like they're in a bucket unless they're in a bucket. Knocking my microphone. So that's that. The last thing I do need to show you is, so now that we have this beautiful audio and it's been recorded, and if you want to trim off the ends of it, there you go. You trim off audio. I'm hitting delete on my keyboard. All right. Assume that we have it, and then you're going to hit File, Export. You can save project. This will save an Audacity project that you can load back up and you can load into, and then you can go back into like the edit tool, and you can see and you can remember, all right, I made this part louder or this part quieter, and it has all of your audio tracks. It's not very portable, and that's not finished. Okay, so you hit export, and you hit export as MP3. It's going to export as MP3 into an MP3 file, not an Audacity project file. Audacity project files are when it's work in progress. This is an export so that it's shareable. Wave is uncompressed and large. It's going to be like gigabytes every 30 seconds or gigabytes every minute, somewhere around there. There's a whole bunch of stuff around here for if you're trying to export music. Since it's a tape, it's an MP3. Go to average bitrate or preset. You can. I don't really care. Insane is insane in this case. I mean, for music, it's not so insane. Please export music in 320. For what you're getting off a tape, you could do 96 kilobits per second, which is what they exported music in the 2000s as in MP3s, 96 kilobits. You could get down to 64 or 56 kilobits off a tape because it's not great fidelity. The kids singing part, you could go higher. But don't do 8. It's gonna sound like digital noise. 56 kilobits is gonna sound like when you first got your first dial-up and you started listening to real audio. Don't do it. So 96 is a good place to be for spoken word or things that you're going to digitize off low fidelity medium. If you're going to get really into it and you're going to like be digitizing records and you're going to have a good record player and your noise floor is going to be low and it's like digitizing music, 320. If it's spoken word, 128, 96, it's fine. All right. Give it a name. I'm sure that you'll want to name it. And then, oh, cool. I'm glad that this opened up on this monitor. And then it'll ask you to put in metadata for like, who's the artist? I'm sure it's Denver Meeting or whatever for this tape. Whoops, typed a W instead of an M. Track title, track number. This is all the stuff that your audio player picks up and plays. This is all baked into the file. Fill it in, don't fill it in. I don't know. I didn't tell you to skin your knee. All right. Another way to do this, which enables you to do the cute hack of stereo recording, is go into a mixer, which you can do through an RCA to an RCA cable, or an RCA to, what do they call those? Tip sleeve stereo jack cable? Whatever they call that. Go into a mixer. The mixer will probably have some kind of amplifier. You're going to want it because otherwise you're going to get line out from the tape player and somewhere else is going to need to be able to amplify that. So what you could do is you could go to audio cables and we're going to go to connector A. Well, it needs to be RCA. Connector B. Did you do RCA? Female? What? That's dumb. Go to Amazon. RCA to TS. There you go. Get one of these if you have a mixer and you want to do the cute stereo recording hack. It's not a hack, it's a trick. There's no hacking going on. Here's what I have. These are the cheap ones. They're $8.95. But I mean, you could also go to Monoprice and pay $3 and shipping. If you do one of these, you're gonna want some kind of audio interface. Let's go, computer, audio interface. Don't buy this. Who are you and what do you do? That's still a mono in. Why are you claiming to do RCA on the... There's only one line. Where's the other line? Let's look at the top of this. Inst gain 2. Well, okay. You can plug in 2 TS cables or TRS cables if you want. I don't know. One in there and one in there. And then you get out through the USB cable into the computer. I would recommend that you get some kind of external audio interface. Because even though this is $100 and that's the cheapest, don't buy this. Don't do this. If you're gonna do this, just buy the $2 cable and plug it into the back of your computer. Here's an $80. That says Pile, but that's definitely Yamaha colors. Is Pile just rebadging Yamaha mixers? Whatever. Yeah. I would recommend, if you really, really want to get good audio out of, well, if you want to have a device so that you can in the future have a lot more flexibility with the audio that you record, get a mixer / an audio interface, because those things will have they'll have all of the right circuitry to do all of that with minimal electrical interference. Doing it in a computer, if you're buying computers from Dell or HP, they're just slapping things onto a motherboard or buying a motherboard from somebody that's making them, and they're not doing spectacular electrical isolation. It's not really going to make a difference for recording tapes made in the 70s or 60s. But if you want to have the flexibility, I really suggest this. If you're just going to be doing this, dude, get a RCA cable. All right. So now that we've handled the cable that you're going to need, so here we are in Audacity. I'm still on MME, but I've switched to my mixer, which I have the stereo out of the tape player going into. Still on 44.1, still, and I'm now recording in stereo. If I hit record, it's going to crash because I switched inputs. No, I don't want to save changes to this empty project. Relaunch Audacity, which should work now that okay, so I'm still on line in from my mixer, still using MME. If I hit record there, ta-da, everything works. It's amazing. And I'm, since this is my mixer and the microphone is plugged into the mixer and that's how I record everything, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to turn on the audio from the mixer. Not the mixer, the tape player. Okay, so now that I've got a little bit of a recording, I had to switch to my headphones because that adapter that I showed you, you can buy one of these TRS stereo tip sleeves. Is actually what I use to get audio from my mixer out to my speakers. But my mixer also has headphones in. So I could, oh wait, I'll actually need to listen to that because I don't have speakers. Forgot about that. Okay, so here's an advanced trick. Now that we have this one side, or the left channel, which is the kids singing hymns, that's playing through frontways, forwards, and then we also have the nice gentleman giving some kind of gospel meeting, or some kind of meeting, maybe gospel, I don't know. So let's go into audio track, and I want to split stereo to mono. There we go. So I've now extracted the children singing beautiful beautiful songs. Oh, whoops. Here, let me mute this other track. All right. And also, I'm going to solo this other track. And now we have some gentleman who's presumably giving some kind of meeting, but he sounds like the devil. Just select this guy. Effect, reverse. Okay, so now if I solo this track up and I'm, whoops, that's me. Okay. That's children singing, and if we solo this, that's the meeting. Okay. So when you go to export, you're going to want to solo a track. If you're recording in stereo, solo a track, export as MP3. We're gonna export over that guy. I know it already exists. All right, you can fill that in when you know what it is. I'm leaving it blank. So by soloing this track, it will mute all the other tracks that you have. And now, come here. Documents, Audacity. Okay. Children singing, open with VLC. If I hit record there, ta-da, everything works. We've done it. We've got children singing. And if I solo this track and export it, we get export as MP3. This will be meeting.mp3. All right. Okay. And then it's going to export. And I close this window again. Come on now. Documents, Audacity. Open with VLC.
Walk up to the light that God gives you.
All right.
And he'll
There's
give
that.
you more.
And then
But never
I go back
compromise.
here. Yep. That's me backwards. Watch out for that.